Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of today's workshop. Let's proceed to Module 3, Be Water. Now, the original phrase of this chapter that we're going to talk about is on these slides here. But don't worry, we'll go into every line to explain and understand what it means to be like water. So, can you see the highlighted there? It puts says 上山若水. Now, what does 上山若水 loosely translated? I say the highest good is like water. What does it truly mean? No, for centuries, this simple phrase from chapter 8 of the Tao Te Ching has inspired poets, philosophers, leaders, and even Bruce Lee. Okay, but what makes water so wise? And how can this ancient wisdom transform our lives today? Right? So get ready to uncover the hidden power behind these timeless words, insights that can bring clarity, strength, and flow to everything you do. There is going through the 3 lessons from Tao Te Ching, I feel it resolved yin yang. What I mean, we are aware yin yang is circle. What if the circle changed to oval and stretch to become a line? This is how I feel. Okay, good. Thank you, Darren, for sharing your insights about what you have learned so far from the 3 lessons, workshop 1, 2, and 3, and then up to here, what you felt about this relating to yin yang. Yes, you're correct, because yin yang is basically just duality only. So it can take in many shapes and form and size. It can be circle, can be straight, can be oval, and whatever, right? So yes, that is your Tao. That is your understanding of the Tao. Nobody can default that. So let's drill into this chapter 8. Now, that's not talk about a lot of successful people subscribe to this concept of water. Okay, so Bruce Lee embodied this principle in martial arts and life. Examples, Bruce Lee water talk about adaptability. So, Bruce Lee make use of these characteristics of water, adaptability. He blended the best techniques from various styles, creating his own martial art, Jeet Kune Do. Okay, so the lesson from this is that Bruce Lee embraces change and then innovates. The second characteristics of water is to flow. Is the flow, right? So flow with what? Flow with challenges. Bruce Lee faced racial barriers in Hollywood, but became an international icon. So what's the lesson? Bruce Lee stay fluid in the face of resistance. Now, the third characteristics of water is stay grounded. So despite the fame, right, Bruce Lee stayed focused on sharing his philosophy. So basically, he remains as humility. Humble, and because of that, that attracts a lot of greatness towards him. So when you understand this module, you will also finally appreciate the true essence of hexagram 29, the I Ching hexagram 29, which is called water hexagram. Now, here's the original phrase for chapter 8. It starts off with the first sentence called 上善若水. Loosely translated, the highest good is like water. Chapter 8 begins with this. It tells us that if we want to live a virtuous life, we should look to water as our example, like what Bruce Lee did. Then you may be thinking, why water? Because it's something we interact with every day. That's number one. You think about it. We bathe in it to clean ourselves. We wash our dirty clothing with it. We flush the toilet with it. We drink it. We need water to cook the rice. And we need it to survive. So unlike sunlight or air, which we often take for granted, water is at least, compared to sunlight or air, water is at least tangible and is essential. Hence, we can see that water is everywhere, yet often do we stop and think about its incredible wisdom. This is what that the next line is trying to tell us. I read out in the in English. It says that water benefits all things and does not compete. It stays in places that people dislike, so it is close to the way. To the way means to the Tao. Now, let me repeat that little phrase here. It stays in places that people dislike. Water stays in places that people dislike. Can you understand that sentence there? If it's asking what's the hexagram behave like water, no, hexagram 29 called water hexagram. Okay, so Lao Tzu says water benefits all things and does not compete. It is true, right? It is true. Water just flow and always flow to the lowest point. Okay, it flows to where people don't want to go, and this is very fascinating. It flows to where people don't want to go. What does this really mean for us today? Let's dive into this powerful concept. And before that, in case you're wondering what san li means, san li, this is the words, the two words in bold here. Where's my pen? Give me a minute. Let me show my pen. Okay, this san li. So in case you're wondering what does 水善利万物而不争 basically 善 means being good at something. In Tao Te Ching terms, right, 善 means being good at something. So 善利 means benefiting others without causing harm. So water, we know, nourishes plants, sustains life, yet it never fights for attention, never fights for recognition to say that, hey, I give you life. Why are you not praising me? Why are you not giving me recognition? Water doesn't do that. Water just 善利. That means benefiting others without causing harm. That's like Tao. Okay, so think about farmers. They rely on rainwater to grow crops. Last time, but now I think they still do. Okay, but wait, you may be quietly thinking, water can also cause floods, right? It can also destroy crops too, right? So how do we understand this? The key lies in awareness. Okay, lies in awareness. If you plant crops in a low area that floods, it's not water's fault. It's about knowing your environment. So in life, we must be aware of our surroundings to avoid unnecessary harm. So don't just shift the blame to water because it flooded your home or flooded your crops. Right? So it's two different things. So separate it. Don't confuse with each other and then just conveniently shift the blame to nature. That is, in this case, water. Don't do that. Example, take Singapore in the past, where, and nowadays also flooding, but in the past, I think it was very severe, where flooding was a very real issue back then. Okay, the government has learned to build and improve drainage system since then. So they are using knowledge to work with water instead of against water. Of course, whatever they have put in place in today's context because of the climate change, I think is no longer that sufficient or capable to deal with the amount of water that we are expecting nowadays. So therefore, government should rethink about their infrastructure that they already built in. Okay, so if they do that, if they rethink, actually they are also again using knowledge to work with water instead of against it. Now let's talk about water going to the places that others despise. This is very fascinating statement. Okay, have we noticed we always use water to do the dirty works, like bathing to keep ourselves clean, to clean away all the dirt and dust, wash the dirty car, wash the soiled clothing, wash the dirty dishes, wash the dirty toilet, okay, or flush the dirty toilet bowl, and even wash the dirty toilet. Okay, so water doesn't just flow, it transforms. It washes away dirt and debris, making way for new life. Okay, you say, but master, I have a different perspective about water as I scared of it. I don't know why. Like the sea, they are very deep and unpredicted May I have your thoughts? It's again awareness. Some people may be afraid that water can flood their house. So it's about awareness. If you have fear about water, then stay clear of water lah. But in any case, you still need water to sustain life, right? Okay, so it's a matter of awareness again, which I've explained just now, right? So if you can't deal with the deep sea, then stay clear. Basically, this is what I'm trying to say. Unless, that's like farmers, if they know how to deal with floods, then they go ahead. You can have your crops and plantation at the valley for all you care. Tao doesn't care. Okay. So in the past, when I was much younger and still studying, my mother always told me that if I did not study well, okay, and get a good grade, I would end up being a road sweeper. Right? I did not talk back back then, but in my heart, I was wondering what is wrong with being a road sweeper. I was a bit naive back then, but seriously, I was thinking, road sweeper is still a very decent job, but it's people's perspective of road sweeper only. So Lao Tzu tell us that water flows to low places and willingly to do dirty works that others despise. So in fact, road sweeper is doing things, is going to the low places and willing to do the dirty works that others despise. Right? So why do many people consider being low as undesirable? Look at water. Water is willing to wash the toilet for you. Water is willing to flush away the toilet bowl and clean your dirty cars, all sorts of things. So we often look up to those in high positions, but Lao Tzu remind us that there's strength in humility. So by embracing lowliness, not loneliness, lowliness, lowliness, we can find true power. That's why I find this chapter very fascinating because it wakes me up. It wakes me up in some sense. So Darren said there's a saying, 生不可测. Exactly, water and Tao is 生不可测. Andrew say excess versus appropriate. Thank you very much. 适可而止. Okay, example, consider Mother Teresa. She dedicated her life to serving the poorest of the poor. Right? She didn't seek fame or power. She chose to work in the lowest places of society, showing us that true greatness often lies in humility. So to leaders out there, this insight is a gem. There's a paradox. It's called 强大处下. Basically means being strong means being low. I repeat, being strong means being low in simple English. We will revisit this again in later chapters. But don't worry, as of now, it suggests that true strength comes from humility and the ability to support others rather than seeking power of dominance. Remember in the earlier module 2, we talked about wise people put others before themselves and care for others more than their own needs. This applies to leadership too. So I already given you one example. Mother Teresa put others before herself and go to the low places that many people despise. Next, another example. True strength doesn't shout from the top. It supports from below. Now, LKY, the founding father of modern Singapore, embodied this paradox. That's why I mentioned 强大处下, 处下, not 处下, 处下. 处下 means being strong means to be being low. Okay, so the strength lies in humility. I know LKY is a bit hard-handed, but ultimately, if you look at what he did and his achievement, he's actually more in touch with the lowest of the lowest than many other politicians. Okay, so LKY transformed Singapore from a struggling nation into a global powerhouse. How? By staying grounded and by serving the needs of his people first. You look at his house. I don't think he upgraded his house to become a GCB, good class bungalow. I don't think he did that. Okay, I don't think that he invested in many properties at all. All right, so his house was still the house that he used during his heydays. So he wasn't afraid to make tough decisions, but he always placed the country well-being above personal ambition. So his leadership wasn't about standing tall, but lifting others higher. So when Singapore faced water crisis, remember those time when Singapore faced a water crisis, LKY didn't seek glory by blaming others. He worked tirelessly on a long-term solution like water agreements with Malaysia and then creating new water. So his humility in addressing critical issues head on ensured Singapore's survival and growth. So for leaders out there, how can you embody this paradox in your own life? Basically means being strong is actually mean being low. Now, let's see if this guy, Donald Trump, can really walk the talk about making America great again. So we can see all his action and all his decisions. What do you think? When we talk about water, what do you think? He's forcing his way through. He's not acting like water. And just now we talk about 人不为己，天诛地灭. If he's working against the nature of Tao, he has to prepare to face the severe consequences. So next, while Lao Tzu said the secret to wisdom lies in something as simple as water, he also cautioned that the water is 几乎 in Chinese called 几乎几乎 means is just at best close to the Tao. It is not Tao, but it's close to the Tao. So he's highlighting a profound truth. While water embodies qualities of Tao, we should strive for flexibility, humility, and the ability to adapt. Water is not the ultimate truth. It is just a guide to understanding Tao. In addition, water is also selfless, right? Water selflessly benefits all living things. It nourishes crops, provides drinking water, and supports life, all without demanding payment. I repeat, water selflessly benefits all living things. Living things means human, animals, insects, what sort that you have, all living things. It nourishes crops, plants, provides drinking water, and supports life, all without demanding payment or recognition. Think about it. When we drink water or use it for cooking, it doesn't come with a price tag from the water itself. But the PUB charges that we face are human-made. And that bill is not a reflection of water's essence, by the way. So in our life, we often find ourselves competing for resources, just like people who try to monopolize resources. We build barriers, we restrict access, and forget that like water, we can achieve more through collaboration and support rather than competition. Look at USA now. Totally against this chapter. Go against the grain of this chapter 8. Darren said, it is true about LKY. I see in another perspective. He has nothing to lose as he's making of Singapore from 无到有. Therefore, 何为担心呢? If anything happen, then 再来咯. This really called 人不为己，天诛地灭.天诛地灭. Well said, Darren. Yes, indeed, it's true. If you are all in, this is what I believe. If you are all into a single laser focus purpose, if you're all in and you have nothing to lose, the chances is you'll be successful. And I've seen a lot of examples like this, all in and felt that there's nothing to lose. The moment you have something to lose, that's where fear and worries comes in. Okay, let's move on. So just so you know, Lao Tzu didn't pick water randomly. He chose water because it mirrors the Tao perfectly. It is not Tao, but it mirrors the Tao very closely. So to help us understand the deeper wisdom of water, he laid out 7 qualities that make water extraordinary. So let's explore these qualities and see how they apply to our lives. So the subsequent sentences in chapter 8 talks about that 7 qualities of water. Right? Let me read it in English, to loosely translated in English. It stays in good places. Its heart is deep. It is kind to others. It speaks with trust. It governs with good management. It does things well. And it acts at the right time. These are the 7 qualities of water. Now, if you don't understand either of the sentences, it's fine. Because when I first read it, I was lost also. What does it mean that water stays in good places? What does it mean that it governs with good management? What does it mean that it speaks with trust? All these are mind-boggling sentences. And why is it the 7 good qualities of water? Okay, so don't worry if you are lost here. I will get you through one by one. So number 1, it stays in good places. 聚散散地. Okay, so basically means water stays in good places. You may be wondering, are you sure? Look at this slide. Look at this slide. Look at where the water ended. It ended in a barren place. Okay, in Chinese, some people may call this 鸟不生蛋的地方, right? And you call that a good place? So if let's say you really think, if this is what you think, then you hear me out. Okay, because Lao Tzu says water only stays in good places. Right? Hear me out. It's not 鸟不生蛋的地方. There are also some other people interpret 聚散地 as the need for picking the best location, which they call it 福地. So they believe that finding the perfect place of 福地 will bring wealth and success. But Lao Tzu uses water to challenge this idea. Okay, so what does this truly mean? Now, here is it. Water doesn't complain. Let me explain. Water doesn't choose a perfect spot. It flows to low places. It flows to places other people reject or despise. Or it flows to places that may be dirty, smelly, polluted, or 鸟不生蛋. Yet, when water gets there, it transforms the land, making it fertile and full of life. It doesn't complain about where it ends up and why it ends up there. Instead, it works its magic. It starts to give life. So this is the essence of 聚散地. That means water will always go to good places, even though it's 鸟不生蛋的地方. So let's now talk about the queue and cutting queue. Darren said cannot see the slides. How about the rest? Okay, no problem. Pepe, no problem. Okay, thank you. Mary, no problem. Jia Xuan can see. Carl say because of Western, they become a good place. Because of water, they become a good place. That's right. Kelvin say can. Okay, that's right, Carl. You are very correct. Because of water, they become a good place. So water will never end up in a lousy place. So same thing. If we behave like Tao, 人不为己, that means if we align with Tao and do like Tao, that means always trust yourself that wherever you go is always the best place. You always end up in a good place. This is very important for manifestation. You must have that belief system that wherever you go, you always landed up in a good place, even though it's a 鸟不生蛋的地方. Can you all subscribe to this statement? Type your opinion in the chat. You know, a lot of people say life is so unfair to me. Why do I end up to be here? Why do I end up to be there? Why do I have to work with this person? Why do I have to, ended up in this department with this kind of colleague, with this kind of boss, 101 complaints. Now, water doesn't complain being ended up in the 鸟不生蛋地方. It does works its magic. It gives lives. Then the whole place transform. Okay, transform. Huh? So Lao Tzu uses water as a metaphor. Thank you, Carl. This is very profound. Yes, like I say, after reading this chapter, it really opened my mind and my world. Darren say, therefore, the need to study AOM, know what is fair. Thank you very much. Okay, so is what is 公平? What is 公平? Okay, so always have that belief system that wherever you landed up in, that's the good place for you, the best possible place for you. Okay, so let me proceed now. Lao Tzu uses water as a metaphor to show us that our ability to thrive isn't just about our physical surroundings. It's about making the most of wherever we are, just like water does. So think about your own life. Have you ever faced a situation or environment that felt less than ideal, a difficult workplace, a challenging neighborhood? I think I talked about that, or even a strained relationship. What if you could be like water flowing into that situation and transforming it for the better? How would that change your perspective and action? Okay, so this is called dwell. Water always dwell in a good place, even if that place seems unfavorable. If say always maintain what and maintain life, is it life? Water confident no matter where we landed. Okay, if you're asking what is hexagram still 29, yes, we are still at hexagram 29 if you are looking at eating hexagram. Yes, all this chapter here is about hexagram 29. So the key point from these first qualities is that make the most of wherever we are with whatever we have. Now, example. Imagine transforming a swampy island with no natural resources into one of the world's most successful nations. In the 1960s, Singapore was dismissed as a hopeless case. No natural resources, little land, and ethnic tensions. Yet, LKY and his team, the founding generations, adopted a mindset rooted in 聚山地. That means water will always go to good places. That means they are in good place. They didn't wait for better circumstances. They made the circumstances better. So Singapore's journey from a struggling third world country to a thriving first world metropolis is not just a story of resilience. It's a testament to a deeper wisdom. So LKY, being our Singapore's founding father, embodied the principle of 聚山地. That means making the best of the place you are given. So that comes a very important topic that most people like to talk about is 福人居福地, 福地福人居. Okay, so what does it mean? So LKY in addition also understood another layer of not LKY, sorry. What was I talking about? Lao Tzu. Lao Tzu also understood another layer of 聚山地. Okay, so good feng shui doesn't come from the land alone. It comes from the people who live and work there. So good land thrive because of good people. So LKY is like the water. He ended up in Singapore, 鸟不生蛋的地方, and he made Singapore prosper. And then now everyone is saying that Singapore has good feng shui. So in short, basically this is called what? 福人聚福地. So if you think you are 福人, wherever you go, there's always a 福地. There's always the best place for you. So by investing in education, investing in housing and social harmony, Singapore nurture its people, turning them into the greatest resource. So like water that nurtures even barren land, success is not about waiting for the perfect conditions. It's about making imperfect conditions perfect or near to perfect. So in short, water doesn't ask for perfection. It flows where it is needed and brings life. As simple as that. If you landed up in a 鸟不生蛋地方, make the best of the place. If you ended up in a very lousy workplace, make the best of what you can have there. So in the same way, we don't need ideal circumstances to create good fortune. So take a lesson from water and make every space we touch better, proving that true good feng shui starts with us. So Darren say, agree. 易经风水 says. Right? So now you hear from Lao Tzu also that if you feel you are like water, wherever you go, you make that place better, you have good feng shui already. So feng shui, good feng shui starts with you, not the place. Of course, the place, if it's good also, then makes things easier and faster to see changes. Okay, that's the first quality. Are you able to understand the first quality? Type yes in the chat if you can understand what I'm saying here. Because it takes me a while to fully understand. So if you can understand now, basically means you are so much better and so much enlightened than me. Can or not? Can I go on to second qualities? All right. Number 2. 心善渊. Lucy translated, it says its heart, that means water's heart is deep. Now imagine a deep, calm lake. Beneath its surface lies a thriving world of life. We have fishes, we have plants, and endless possibilities. So water doesn't shout about its impacts, yet it nurtures life effortlessly. So Lao Tzu's phrase, this 心善渊, or a heart as deep as water, reminds us to cultivate depth, kindness, and quiet strength in our lives. So what does it mean? 心善渊, that means a heart that is kind and deep like water. So this phrase is about being generous, expensive, and unassuming. Expensive doesn't mean 很贵还是很便宜啦, but means expanding being generous, being expensive, and unassuming. Qualities that create life and opportunities. So if we talk about the queue and the cutting queue, it's being generous, it's being expensive, and it's being unassuming. And if I've been being pushed to the next spot behind, then the next spot will be my next best spot already. Okay, because I'm always in good place. So just like deep water sustain countless creatures without expecting credit, a person with a deep heart uplift others without seeking recognition. I have to borrow LKY again. He gave his life to building Singapore. His focus was never on himself, but on what the nation needed. So this is the essence of deep heart, putting the greater good above personal desires. So you think of water, filling the lowest valleys, bringing life even to places others overlook. So similarly, LKY tackled the unsexy problems like sanitation and infrastructures because they mattered to him and to Singapore. So true leadership is like water. Serve where it is needed most. So to leaders out there, I sum up the key lessons from Xing San Yuan, right? So the deep heart is like water. It doesn't focus on taking credit. That's like water never says, without me, you can't live. Water never say that, not even once. And number two is it nurtures endlessly without needing applause, creating life and possibilities for others. So leaders who quietly invest in their teams, like how a teacher shapes young minds, often have the greatest impact over time. So for those seeking personal growth, be like water. Okay. So basically, there are 3 points here that I would like to share based on what we know about this chapter. Is don't sweat the small stuff. If you sweat over small stuff, means your heart is pretty shallow. Okay. So the deeper your heart, the less you will get caught up in trivial matters. So instead of arguing over petty issues like cutting queue, focus on creating something meaningful. That's number one. Number two, serve without shouting. Like just like water nurtures without bragging. Strive to help others without seeking constant validation. This builds trust and respect over time. Now, a lot of us has been conditioned that we need constant external validation, because without constant external validation, you feel you are not good enough. You don't need that. Water don't need external validation to know that water is useful, right? And then third point is expand your capacity. The broader and deeper your mindset, the more life and opportunity you can hold. Just like deep water supports diverse life form. So when we expand our emotional capacity, we store the ability to face challenges and help others thrive. Okay, so we've covered the second qualities of water. Now let's move on to the third qualities of water. It is called 与善人. Loosely translated, it means it is kind to others. Now, 与 this word 与 basically loosely translated means to give or to share. Okay, so just to do some translation for you, to give or to share, and to give or to share what? I will explain. Okay, have you ever noticed how water treats everyone equally? That's like Tao. I think in the earlier workshop, I talked about how Tao treats everyone like 刍狗. Water also treats everyone like 刍狗. So water treats everyone equally. It doesn't ask if you are a good person or a bad person. It doesn't discriminate based on where you live, who you are, or what you believe. Just like flood comes in, you don't care who you are, you get flooded. So it just flows, giving life to all. Now, what if we live with this same spirit of generosity? This is called 与善人. So Lao Tzu's wisdom, right, in this 与善人, teaches us that true kindness is unconditional. The moment it is conditional, then it is not true kindness. Look at USA, willing to help Ukraine to come to a peace deal, but in return, they talk about the rare earth deal. So this is conditional, and this is not true kindness. I'm not saying they are right or they are wrong. Okay, it's up to them, because Tao give them free will. But Tao, in Tao's eyes, if USA is doing that, then that is not true kindness. Huh? So water gives to all without judgment. It doesn't decide you're good, so I'll nourish your crops more. And if you're bad, I will withhold water from you. No, water doesn't do that. It is treat everyone equally. So water flows freely, offering itself to everyone equally. So this is called true kindness, is unconditional and treats everyone the same. 与善人. In life, we often hesitate to help others. I think Eve just now mentioned something about helping others, right? So some of us think that, do they deserve my kindness? Do they deserve my help? Or some people may also think that by helping you, what's in for me? But water doesn't hesitate. It simply gives. Imagine if we adopted this approach in our own life, helping others without overthinking their worthiness, right? So, for example, in the workplace, be the colleague who shares knowledge freely, lifting the entire team. Some people may not agree with this statement here, but it's fine. Free will. Okay. It's your choice. Or in your community, support neighbors without expecting anything in return. So again, it's not expecting in return. If you expect anything in return, that is conditional. So water generosity comes with a natural rule, right? There's a rule to basically telling us not to abuse this water generosity. And the rule is you misuse it or waste it, you face the consequences. So similarly in life, kindness isn't about being naive. It's about offering without judgment while maintaining boundaries. So it's not what do you call that? We have to be practical about things. So kindness is, let me repeat, kindness isn't about being naive. It's about offering without judgment, without expecting in return, while maintaining healthy boundaries. So basically, it's telling you not at the expense of being a pushover. Okay, you still have to protect yourself. So this principle applies to life and relationship too. Don't take things for granted. Like the Singapore Safe Water campaign many years back, it's like telling you, water is precious. Don't waste water. Real life example. During the COVID-19 pandemic, many nations donated vaccines and resources to struggling countries. But those who hoarded supplies or wasted opportunities, saw delays in recovery. So generosity paired with responsibilities create balance and progress. That is the third qualities of water. Let's move on to the fourth quality of water. It says here, 言善信. Loosely translated, it speaks with trust. Imagine a world where promises means nothing and actions means everything. Water embodies this perfectly. Water doesn't talk, yet it is the ultimate symbol of trust and reliability. So it just flows, nurtures, and transforms without asking for recognition. So, what if we could live like water? He's saying, for me per se, I'm quite mindful in my kindness as I try not to interfere or offering help. Sometimes we need to let things happen in that way. Am I aligned with Tao, or this is my own Tao, Master? If you could recall a good point that you have written there, so it's a good time to revisit this again. Since we are on this topic called kindness, if you could recall, in the workshop 2 last week, we talked about Tao not readily interfering into others people problem. 解其分, remember we talked about that, 解其分. Okay, 解其分 basically means is you don't immediately step in to try to be the one to resolve the problem between the parties. You don't do that, but basically you can quietly do something to facilitate the resolution. For example, if let's say you know of a couple quarreling in a room, right, in a room, then you may just quietly close the door so that they can settle among themselves, among the couple in that room without people, peeping in or whatever, or something like that. So you are align with the Tao based on what you have written there. I mean, you try not to interfere or offering help, but what you can offer is the 应得 kind of help. That means, for example, that time we talk about closing the door, or do something else, or try to deviate other people to another room, so that to give them space, the couple space to sort things out. This is called the 应得. That means the quietly help, the quiet help. You get my point, Eve, and everyone else? So you're pretty aligned with Tao if you do that. Okay, so in the words of Lao Tzu, 言善行信, not 行, 信, 言善信, teaches us that true trust isn't built through words, but through consistent, quiet action. Remember last week we talked about what do you call that? Tao Te Ching is always advocating walk the talk. Don't just preach, but walk the talk. In this case here, is again repeating this emphasis that true trust is built through words, isn't built through words, but through consistent, quiet action. Water doesn't promise to nourish life or quench thirst. It simply does it. So this is the essence of integrity, showing up without making a fuss and letting actions speak for themselves. So consider the humble office cleaners who quietly ensuring our offices, our space are spotless by the morning. They don't broadcast their efforts, but their quiet, reliable work builds the foundation of a clean, and productive environment. So it is their action, it's not their words that earn our trust, right? That they do a good job. So in a world that values noise and talk, try, dare to be like water, silent, reliable, and full of integrity. So you don't have to shout to make a difference. You just have to act. Last week you talked about 行不言之教. Okay, so that is the part here. And this is re-emphasized again. You don't have to shout to make a difference. You just have to act. So what will you quietly accomplish today? That's it for the fourth quality. Now let's move on to the fifth quality, 正善治. It governs with good management. Wow, water also know how to govern. Huh? Okay, let's see what it says. Huh? Now, have you ever watched a river or ocean is constantly flowing and never stagnant? Yet it embodies what I call that? It embodies one of the most powerful lessons about justice and fairness. So today's in this part here, let's explore how water teaches us about the importance of being just. Just means fair, fairness, rather than merely fair. In the phrase 正善治, we see that 正 doesn't just mean level. It means balance and movement. Just like the wave that you see in this picture here. So water isn't ever truly still. It's always in motion. And that's where its true power lies. A bit team. So you try to understand here. Let me repeat that again. Water isn't ever truly still, it's always in motion, and that's where the true power is. Let's study further. Take a moment to think about river again. It's never completely flat or still. I think I mentioned that. It flows around obstacles, it reshapes landscapes, and nourishes life along its, wherever it goes. So this reflects how we should approach justice. Justice, 公平, fairness, or whatever you want to call it, equal treatment, things like that. So it's not about rigidly applying rules, but adapting and ensuring that everyone benefits. A stagnant river can't support life. just like a rigid view of justice can't support a thriving communities. At some point, rigid rules need to be changed to stay current, to stay relevant, right? So it has to be like water, has to be, keep on flowing, you know, change when it needs to be changed, to be current, to be relevant. So consider the water cycle. Rain doesn't fall evenly everywhere. It may be raining in Toa Payoh. There may be no rain in Jurong. For all you know, it doesn't rain, doesn't fall evenly everywhere. So some places get heavy rainfall, others much less. But this imbalance creates river, forest, and life. So if water stays perfectly still, it would stagnate, turn into dead water, and kill the very life it supports. So justice comes through movement, not equality. Now, here's the thing. When we chase fairness, we often get stuck in our definition and expectation. Okay? True justice requires movement, flexibilities, and responsiveness. Just like water, we must flow, adapt, and ensure that we create environments where everyone can thrive. So, water shows us the beauty of justice through motion and adaptation. So, basically, this quality is trying to tell us to let go of the impossible dream of perfect fairness and embrace the dynamic flow of life. So, for those that attended my AOM, I think just now I mentioned a few things about fairness, right? In I Ching point of view, I think it's the same as Tao Te Ching. It says that is let go of the impossible dream of perfect fairness. So let me offer you what the I Ching also say about fairness is that 合理的不公平就是公平了。I repeat 啊，合理的不公平就是公平了。Example, you and your colleague may be having the same title, doing something similar, but your pay is different. Okay. If you want perfect fairness, whereby everything is equal, then you get yourself stuck only. Right? But because you may have experiences while the other person don't have experiences or whatever, therefore there's a little bit of fluid here and there. So that's like water, as long as it's 合理的不公平, that is fairness really. So if say Master Tao Te Ching also teaches us to be still, yet water is always flowing, one stagnant, no life force. Please explain. Tao Te Ching never asks us to be still. Tao Te Ching only asks us to, what do you call that? To embrace the Wu. And Wu is nothingness. That means you have so much potential to move around. And Tao is always flowing. Remember, we said Tao is always flowing. So we must always maintain that Tao Chong, the emptiness to move around. Remember that? So that you won't get stuck. So that you won't get stagnant in life. Carl said nothingness means total freedom. Yeah, more or less is that way. Yes. Nothingness basically means if you stay in that dimension of nothingness, you are maintaining that Tao Chong functionality. That's like the bellow that we talk about in workshop 2. If there are physical object in the space, in the nothingness of that bellow stops working as it should be already. That means it's useless. So bellow is effective and is useful because of the emptiness. It maintains the functionality of Tao Chong. Same with our life. If we want to be effective and successful, we must always at all time maintain the functionality of Tao Chong. Be ready to move left, right, center, top, and bottom. You get that? If so, it's Tao Te Ching is not telling us to be still. If it's still, then we have to expect perfect fairness already, because this is still. Nothing can change the definition of perfect fairness already. Okay, but embrace like water, adjust accordingly, and 合理的不公平就是公平. So Darren said, I agree. You like it or not, how perfect you want to be is no use. How hard we hold, be perfect, like hexagram 1, hexagram 2, behind, yeah? That's right. Behind hexagram 1 is hexagram 2, okay? So that's how nature flows in life, which is true. So this is the fifth quality of water. 合理的不公平就是公平。Okay, second last quality of water. 是善能。If it's asking how about 不合理的公平 still act like water? Yep, still act like water. As long as you maintain the functionality of water, you have room to maneuver. Right? You still have room to maneuver. Okay? For all you know, that's when negotiation comes in. Right? Is to find the common ground. Look at Ukraine. Ukraine say at one point in time, I think last year, the president issued a decree, 下 what is Chinese word for that? 圣旨, saying that Ukraine will never negotiate with Putin or finish. 话的说的太满了. Okay, so yeah, so that means Ukraine or the Zelensky didn't maintain the functionality of 道冲, whereas Russia did. Russia always saying that we are ready to negotiate. We are ready to negotiate. We are prepared to negotiate. You see the difference in their behavior and how things works for them or against them. So the one who always maintain the functionality of Dao Chong will always have an upper hand. It applies everywhere. You can see it showing up in every level of life. Okay, so 不合理 find common ground, 讲到合理. Right? So be like water, yeah? Okay, sixth quality of water, 四善能, it does things well. The phrase 四善能 teaches us that action speaks louder than words. I mentioned that just now. Now we have to specifically bring it out as one specific quality of water. So water does not proclaim its how capable it is, how useful it is. It doesn't proclaim or shout about its achievement. Yet water achieves a lot. Example, it cleanses dirt, it nurtures plant, it irrigates the field, and generates power, all without expecting anything in return. So this is true selflessness, right? So think about forests. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen. We all know that, science. And trees support countless creatures and humans. So they do this without asking for anything in return, just like Tao. So they exemplify selfless giving, just as water nourishes the land and life around it. So just like water, let's strive to be forces of positive change without expecting anything back. So when we act selflessly, we create a ripple effect of kindness that transform life. So this quality is just trying to tell us, just do. Okay, just do and you're good. Don't expect anything in return. Don't shout for credit. Don't shout how good you are. Don't shout how much you have done. Just do. Okay, let the result shout for you. And the last one, okay, the last quality of water, it acts at the right time. Oh, 动善时. Oh, this is one of the mind-boggling qualities that I had hard time understanding. It says water acts at the right time. 动善时. Now we all know, for those who learn beta physics, you all know 时也命也. Okay, so what is 时也命也 means timing is everything. All right, so you have heard it before. There are phrases like strike while the iron is hot, or don't rush, wait for the right moment, something like that. That's like trying to say timing is everything. Okay, but what if we could learn perfect timing from something as humble as yet powerful as water? Now, the phrase 动善时 means acting at the right time. Chinese wisdom, I mentioned just now, emphasizes 天时地利人和, means heavenly timing, geographical advantage, and human harmony. Timing is always first, because it's 天时. If you act when the timing isn't right, your effort may go to waste. Water, however, never gets the timing wrong. Never. It adjusts to every season. When it's time to turn ice or snow, it just turns into ice or snow. Okay, so every moment it adjusts to every season, and adjusts to every moment, seamlessly aligning itself with nature. So basically, what is it trying to tell us is that we also must bide our time. 天时地利人和. I mentioned just now, in nature, water will freeze us, right, in winter, and then when it comes to spring, it will automatically melt, or storing resources during scarcity and releasing them when needed. So in the Himalayas, glaciers act like water banks, slowly melting to feed rivers that millions depend on during dry seasons. So nature's timing is never off. It's always perfectly timed and aligned with the need. Right? So, like I said, water freezes in winter and melts in spring, right? So this is what the timing is all about. So same thing for us. We need to bide our time to do the right thing at the right place with the right person. Okay, something like that. So let's recap the 7 qualities of water and how they can apply to our daily living. Number 1, it stays in good place. Basically means, in layman terms, basically means find potential in every place where you are. That's fine. No matter how sucks the place is, or 鸟不生蛋的地方, find potential in every place. You say, but if no good time or uncertainty, how to act like water? Now, water doesn't question, right? Water never say, hey, it's not a good time for me to go to this 鸟不生蛋地方. Never. If you need to go there, it's a good time. It's the same concept. It's the same thinking mindset of it stays in good places. You always end up in good places. Right? So for example, what it means here is that let me tie this up to quality number 1. When you somehow landed up in that 鸟不生蛋地方 today, then have the belief system that today is the right time for you to end up there. Can you follow this statement? That's why I think in the I Am Manifesting program, for those who attended, you may recall that I mentioned, if you have received the whispers from the universe, and I've shown you 10 ways that you can receive whispers from the universe, either one of them shows up, it means the time is ripe already. Okay? The time is ripe already. So do it. Act on it. So whether he is saying, so whether good timing or not, but the perspective we have, never good time or a bad time. There's one of the perspective. There's one of the perspective that a lot of laymen could actually use it to their own benefit. And this is a very powerful perspective. Of course, for those who learn metaphysics, they have an added tools called date selection. That is a separate matter. Okay, that is for those on a different level, those metaphysics who have higher level tools to help them. But for layman people like me, like that, or like us, all we need to do is just like first quality, it stays in good place. We are also telling ourselves, when we end up here today, then today is the best time to be here. There's always a reason why certain things happen for you. Get a point? Okay, so back to these slides here. I have to go through all the 7 qualities again. I think I've gone through number 1, it stays in good place. Basically, in layman terms, basically means try to find potential in every place. Number 2, quality 2, its heart is deep. In layman term, basically means continue to cultivate depth in your character. Character is important. Quality number 3, water is kind to others. In layman term means spread kindness, unconditional kindness. Okay, like water ripples, because what goes around comes around. So you don't have to expect anything, because no, whether you expect not expect, it will still comes back to you. The energy that you throws out will boomerang back to you somehow in other form, shape, and sizes, right? So you don't have to expect anything actually. Pepe is telling if even if unpleasant things happen, believe it's the best will happen. For example, you miss a train while traveling, and Universal connect you with a 贵人 and your new train. Oh, thank you very much. Yes, exactly. So if you have that kind of belief system that whatever happen is always in your best interest, then you're already in a good place. The timing is right for you to encounter this misfortune. Wow, what a way to put it, misfortune. Okay, but this is what it is. All right. Have you ever seen real cases whereby somebody missed the flight, and to that person, that the flight at that moment, that flight is very important because he's going to miss a very important multi-million business deal. But what happened? After that, he discovered that plane crash. What a lucky day for who? Okay, so that aside, so thank you, Pepe, for adding on. Okay, third quality. Wait, before that, Darren said, when I hear Tao Te Ching, it makes feel the focus point begin water, yi yang lai fu, prepare the storage and ready to flow towards spring, while eating makes feel that spring focus, the begin of spring is important. This is ready, act, and go. Good point. So you see the difference, the slight difference between I Ching and Tao Te Ching is that I Ching focus on the you part. It starts from Tai Chi. 太极生两仪，两仪生四象，四象生八卦，八卦生万物。That is 易经. So that means starting from the 有 dimension. But what Tao Te Ching is focusing on is the back end. Even before that 太极, there's something called the 无极. And that 无极 is your preparation, preparing the storage and ready to flow when the 太极 shows up. Okay, so like I say, Darren, this is a very good point. Thanks for raising this, and I hope everyone can understand this part here. There's a slight difference between I Ching and Tao Te Ching, but both of them are talking about the same Tao. It's not different Tao; it's the same Tao, or it's just that the angle is different. That's all. That's about it. Where was I? Okay, I've finished quality number 3. Let's move on to quality number 4. Water speaks with trust. Basically, to apply in our daily living, is basically means action speaks louder than words. Water doesn't speak; it just act, just do. Okay, and let the action and the result speaks for itself. So same for us in our daily living. Action speaks louder than words. Quality number 5, water governs with good management. So basically, in layman, daily living means to lead with the fluid nature of justice. 合理的公平，合理的不公平就是公平哈。Okay, number 6, it does things well. Basically means is to strive for excellence in every task. And the last, it acts at the right time. Timing, in layman term, is called timing is key to success. Or have that belief system that whatever happens right now, whether you're being pushed to the corner or ended up missing that plane, that is the best timing for you to miss the plane. Can not all of these 7 qualities that many people can subscribe to, but this is okay because it's again up to individual to 慢慢的开窍. I was, when I first read this chapter, I was like, are you sure? I have doubts. But of course, over the years, when I look at other people behave, when I look at world events, when I look at world leaders, how they behave, and then what's the consequences of their behavior and action and decisions, then I say, oh yeah, these 7 qualities are actually pretty valid, very, very valid. So I'm sharing with you what I understand. So it's for you to really look at the world, look at in your own life, and then see how much you can understand. Don't believe a thing I say. So actually, when you talk about water, to sum up this chapter, basically is trying to tell you that all this boils down to one idea called no contention. 不争, not competing. Water never compete. When water flows, it doesn't push against obstacles. It finds its way around them. So some people may say that, so soft. Why is this so soft? It can be pushed over by people. Now, that's not been soft. There is 不争. Basically means like what Tao Te Ching says, like water, 不争. You want to be my obstacle, so be it. I will just flow around you. It's just like USA and China tariff war. USA has been giving out punches, right, to China, increasing from how many percent to how many percent to now 200 over percent, And what did China do? Nothing. You want to punch, you punch. You want to become an obstacle, be an obstacle. But I'll just find my way around you and then keep on flowing. See, if you compare, if you look around, you can see how Tao works out in real life. Okay, and how world leaders subscribe to Tao Te Ching or whether they're not subscribing to Tao Te Ching. You can see very clearly. But the first thing first is you must understand Tao Te Ching. Right? Okay, the last line basically means to not compete. And because water does not compete, right? Water bear no blame. Right? Water never gets angry and people never resent it. Right? Because it simply flows without conflict. So remember, the essence of water lies in ability to flow without competition, and this approach leads to harmony and success. So there's a saying, 退一步海阔天空, which means take a step back and the sea will widen. Okay, by embracing non-competition, we can create vast opportunities in our life. So this is what China is doing, non-competition. It's always telling USA that we are not competing with each other. We can collaborate. Okay, I don't care. You can still be the number one, the superpower in the world. No, I'm not competing with you for the superpower country, but we can collaborate. This is China's stand all this while, but USA different mindset. Okay, you have to be either the one looking at the menu, or you are the one on the table as the food. So this is USA mindset. So I think it's pretty narrow view. So the next time you face a challenge, ask yourself, how can I flow like water instead of fighting against the current? I think China has shown that very well. Right? And with this, it leads us to the next module, module 4, the last module of the day. And that is to explore the power of knowing when to step back.